You ever have someone look you dead in the eye and just dare you to prove you belong? That's how it all started for me. Right there, in the middle of Lakewood Heights Community Center, with Clara Ridge's voice slicing through the air, so sharp you could practically see folks lean back in their folding chairs. I remember her words exactly. "You think you're mature enough to handle this lake and house?" And the way she said it, you'd think I was caught trying to break into Fort Knox with a toy crowbar. I was 32, but in her eyes, I might as well have been a teenager with grass stains on my jeans. Funny thing was, every single title, deed, and county stamp on that house and lake was in my name. What she didn't know? 2 weeks before that meeting, I'd gone and bought the HOA too. Yeah, let that settle for a second. Sometimes real life gets so absurd, you almost have to laugh to keep from screaming. So there I was, 3 weeks into my dream home at 15, Lakeshore Drive, fresh off a career as a property appraiser, finally living in the kind of Victorian with a porch and private dock I used to just daydream about. But that first HOA meeting, man, it was something else. Clara stood up at the podium like the Queen of Lakewood, all silver hair and a blazer bristling with HOA pins, looking down her nose at me as if I'd crashed a country club wedding. The whole room went quiet. 30 sets of eyes fixed right on me, waiting to see if I'd stutter or shrink. I wore my best charcoal suit, thought I looked sharp, but under those fluorescent lights and all that scrutiny, I felt about as welcome as a raccoon at a garden party. Harold Green gave me a nod from the third row, paint still under his fingernails, smile that said, "Hang in there, kid." The Reynolds family sat near the back, glancing at each other like maybe they'd made a mistake moving in too. But most folks? Neutral. Waiting. And Clara didn't waste a beat before putting me on the spot. "Before we proceed, Mr. Hale, perhaps you could share your qualifications for managing such valuable lakefront property." Like this was a job interview instead of a welcome wagon. My hands went cold, and I could feel every drop of sweat on my neck. You know that feeling when you're about to speak and your mind's racing, running through every credential you've ever earned? 8 years evaluating waterfront estates, every penny earned, never laid on a bill. I rattled off my experience as steady as I could, though my voice had a little quiver, not gonna lie. "Managing property isn't something I take lightly," I said. But even as I explained, I knew this wasn't about paperwork or credentials. It was about whether I belonged. Clara's arms folded tight. That smile of hers, sharp as broken glass. "Time will tell whether youth translates to wisdom," she said, and banged the gavel so hard it sounded like a judge handing down a sentence. The meeting rolled on, pool budgets, landscaping gripes, but I hardly heard a word. Sat in the back, clutching my manila folder, wondering what the hell I'd just walked into. Afterwards, Harold shuffled over. "Don't take it personal," he said, voice gentle. "Clara's run things her way a long time." He tried to reassure me, but it felt more like a warning. And yeah, turns out, I was the change Clara didn't want, and that painted a target on my back. I could feel eyes watching as I left, the glow from the windows catching little groups still whispering inside. Next morning, tucked under my windshield, was a folded note. "Some people don't belong here, no matter what the paperwork says." Not even subtle. And it just got worse from there. Monday, a violation taped to my door. Excessive classical music after 10 p.m. Only problem? I'd spent the evening reading, dead quiet. Tuesday, another citation, this time about my work truck. Never mind, every third house had a contractor's van out front. Wednesday, I'd vanished from the community pool roster, supposedly for unpaid dues. It became a game. Every day, a new infraction. Every day, me cataloging the evidence. Digital timestamps, photos, stacks of complaint letters spreading out over my dining table like I was prepping for a courtroom showdown. By Friday, Harold found me at the dock, eyes full of worry. "Clara's crossing lines," he said. "She's been president 6 years. Runs folks off who don't bend. People before me had been targeted, harassed, driven out. So folks learned to just keep their heads down." Saturday, Clara herself showed up, citation in hand, smiling like the devil in a church pew. "These azaleas violate community standards," she said. "Plants older than I was suddenly declared an eyesore. These shrubs add value," I said, getting tired of playing nice. "Well, HOA standards supersede individual preference," she shot back, voice smooth as poison. But that wasn't the real story. That night, an anonymous envelope showed up in my mail slot. photocopied HOA statements with suspicious entries and a note. She's been hiding this from everyone. I stayed up past midnight, highlighter in hand, seeing a story in the numbers, missed payments, inflated contracts, thousands vanishing. No wonder Clara was nervous about someone like me moving in. And then the rumors started. Neighbors whispering that someone my age couldn't possibly afford lakefront property without some kind of help. You know what I mean. Insinuations wrapped in fake politeness, little cracks in the foundation. But if Clara thought that would break me, she picked the wrong guy. Because by now, I had evidence of harassment, discrimination, and, more importantly, documents showing the HOA was in hock to the county for more than anyone realized. One morning, planning to take my kayak out, I found Clara at the beach entrance with her loyalists, physically blocking access. Lake privileges require community standing, she said. I just stood there, gear in hand, and said loud enough for half the lake to hear, I pay every fee. This is discrimination. I'll be filing a complaint today. That's when Mrs. Reynolds, jogging by, spoke up. This feels wrong, Clara. Harold Green chimed in, too, voice trembling but steady. This isn't stewardship. This is harassment. And suddenly, the crowd wasn't on her side anymore. Folks started filming, shaking their heads, the air buzzing with that feeling you get when something's about to break wide open. Later that week, at the emergency HOA meeting, I sat front row, folder heavy in my lap. Clara tried to spin everything, talking about false accusations, but no one was buying it. I stood up, dropped the bomb. Our HOA owes $200,000 to the county. I bought the debt at auction. I have legal oversight now. It was like I'd thrown a grenade. People gasped, demanded answers. Clara tried to spin more lies, but every number I shared landed like a punch. Residents realized she'd been hiding this financial time bomb for years. Margaret Walsh and Robert Chun, her closest supporters, looked like someone had dumped a bucket of cold water over their heads. Chaos. Shouting. Clara desperate, trying to blame me for destabilizing the community. But the facts spoke louder. Harold Green, face red with anger, demanded to know where all their money had gone. And just like that, the whole foundation of trust in Clara collapsed. But she wasn't done. That night, Harold texted, "Meet me at the dock." He'd found more records, personal accounts, money siphoned off. Clara had been embezzling. Suddenly, it wasn't just bad management. It was criminal. But I knew. Cornered people get dangerous. Friday, the local news van showed up. The story was out. At the next meeting, Clara tried to turn it on me, spreading rumors about my finances, calling me a destabilizing influence, waving forged documents. But when I connected my laptop to the projector and showed the real records, her forged paperwork, and security footage of her breaking into the HOA office and stuffing my mailbox with threatening letters, well, that was game over. Mrs. Reynolds, standing up, voice shaking. So Clara's been stealing our money and targeting Grant for exposing it. The room erupted. Harold added, maybe it's time we had leadership that knows the law, not just how to bully people. Clara screamed about manipulation, but by then, nobody cared. Residents voted, 38-4, with 2 abstaining. Clara was out. Even her last allies slunk away, heads down. When the county investigators came, it was the final nail. Clara confronted me one last time by the lake, bitterness etched into every line of her face. You orchestrated this whole thing, she spat. You lack the maturity. I just let her talk. The truth was there for everyone to see, on paper, on video, in the votes. That evening, as the sun went down, I watched kids and families enjoy the lake. Harold fished from his dock. The new HOA, under real democratic rules, made decisions in the open, transparency, oversight, anti-discrimination policies. Clara faced charges for embezzlement, forgery, and civil rights violations. Lakewood Heights became a place where everyone belonged, where no one, not even a too young guy like me, could be run out by bullies hiding behind a podium. I parked my old Toyota in the driveway, leaned on the porch rail, and thought about everything that had happened. Sometimes you have to take a stand, even if you feel outnumbered, even if folks say you're too young, too different, too new. Because sometimes that's exactly what a place needs. So, what would you have done if you were me? Would you have fought back or just packed up and left? Drop your thoughts down below. Let's hear your take on what's right and wrong. what justice means in a place like this. And hey, if you believe in standing your ground, stick around for the next story. We're just getting started.